Dr. Brooks, it's an honor to have you back here in the studio. My name is Ambassador Dr. Raymond Harlow. I'm here with Ambassador Dr. L. Randolph Brooks.
Thank you, sir.
World Civility Ambassador.
Yes.
And we're going through your chapters in your book. We're at chapter 4 now, and your title of this chapter is United or Untied. And it's the same word, you just put a space in between there, and it's clever. And I'd like to read an excerpt from it, and then ask you to go into a bit of details on it, so we'll understand better. There is division among us, you wrote. You have it stated that united we stand and divided we fall. There is validity in this statement. Think back on any instant or moment in your past when you were of the same mindset as your friend or tribe member. You could not fail. In fact, you succeed beyond your original thoughts. This is brilliant.
What we're trying to say here is that I want to get the concept of having unification.
Right.
When we're unified, we're thinking everything is hunky-dory. We're all friends. We're all in love with one another. And then I say untied. United is U-N-I-T-E-D. Untied is U-N-T-I-E-D.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I place the I. And it's not all about me. When it's all about me, I become untied. Not only we're united, we stand, divided, we fall, but no man is an island. As an island, we're out there all alone, searching for answers with us as our own counsel. There's a scripture that says a man who has a counselor, a lawyer for himself, has a counselor that's a fool. What we're saying, Dr. Harlow, in any moment that you can happen to think of, I also played sports.
Okay.
There are many times when we were looking to have several people compete for the same position.
Mm-hmm.
And so it became an I situation. At 3 people vying for a middle linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
well, guess what? I'm hoping that guy fails. I'm hoping the other guy doesn't get the play right.
Although it's one team.
Oh, it's one team, but that's what I'm pursuing.
Right.
Now, after the team has been chosen, and we can look at this with the Green Bay Packers in 1960. You can look at this with any Super Bowl team that's been behind, or any basketball team, or any track team, or any swim team,
Mm-hmm.
or any debate team,
Okay.
or any English team, or anything any church choir. Let's not put it on just sports, but anything that's a unified effort of more than 3 people.
Yes.
They come to one mindset. We want to win this competition. We want to get this proposal passed. All of a sudden, the collaborative efforts of those 3 minds come together as one.
Yes.
And the mission is to win. The mission is to get it accomplished, not whether I get the credit for it, but can we get this thing done? That is paramount within patriotism.
Okay.
Too often, countries are fighting inward against themselves.
Oh, really?
I want to be next to the president. I know the prime minister better than you. The king or the queen likes me better than they like you. And it becomes a competition.
Wow.
And we become untied, unraveled, disjointed. As Dr. Harlow just said, chaos. Where there is chaos, there is no order. Where there is order, there's no chaos.
It's order and chaos.
Order and chaos.
Wow. So it's the principle is this: depending on where you put the I, you're either united or untied.
either united or untied.
Phenomenal.
Because people are selfish if left alone in their own divisiveness. And we cannot succeed beyond our wildest measures if we look at what can I get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
How can I better myself? What's in it for me?
That's a good question. Yes.
Instead, we should be saying, what's in it for the community?
Mhm.
What's in it for the tribe? What's in it for my family? What's in it for my country?
Collaborative effort.
Collaborative efforts.
More powerful results.
Always. In 1969, we did not get the first man on the moon in the United States by being disjointed, by being untied. We got there by a collaborative effort of many scientists, many administrators,
Yes.
many workmen, many construction people, many different disciplines working together for one single purpose. To put a man on the moon and return, as President Kennedy said, and return him safely. We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Wow. Plant that flag.
Plant the flag.
On moon. Yes. You wrote here, possessing money or things is not the answer to being patriotic. Many times, the predominant idea is that only the wealthy or better positioned person should be patriotic. Can you touch on that?
I'd love to, and thank you for pulling that excerpt out. Sometimes growing up, I heard my father say, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yeah.
You've heard it evidently
Everywhere.
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really what that's saying. But that's a myth. That's a misnomer. For then it's saying that the only people worth saving, the only people worth doing something about, the only people worth contributing to are those that are in power, those who are wealthy
Yes.
with money, those who are wealthy with power or position. In fact, it's quite the contrary.
Okay.
Some of the most patriotic people I know have very little money. They may not be poor, but they have very little money. And even if they are, they're very patriotic. I grew up in a system
Okay.
in Virginia where there was racial division.
Okay.
This was in the 50s and the 60s. Most of you out there know that that was a turbulent time. Actually, through the late 70s and early 80s, the United States went through this division and to some degree is still going through it today. Being separate and unequal. Why should I care about a country that enslaved our people?
Right.
Why should I care about a place or policies or positions or a constitution that didn't even know I was alive? That though it had the words in it, we prove these creeds to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Wrong, incorrect myth. I grew up very patriotic. I grew up loving my country. My father served in the military.
Wow.
I served in ROTC and reserve in the military. My brother served in the military.
Wow.
My uncle served in the military. I have cousins who are Navy SEALs today. I have one cousin that flew Air Force One for the President of the United States.
Wow.
Don't mess with our flag. With all its warts, with all its hatred, with all its bad history of being slave owners and sacrificial lambs, it is the best we have. Your country, despite that you may live below the poverty line, or you may be a king or a queen, or somewhere in between. You may be in India in the caste system. It is still your country. If you learn to love your country, as I've learned to love my country, I promise you this. Patriotism will infuse your body, it will infuse your DNA, and you will in fact find the religious and the spiritual and the financial and the personal freedom that you desire. How is that so? I'm so glad you asked me. Because once you are set free, no one can ever take that freedom. You are the only one holding yourself hostage. Not your country. Not the politics. Not the political leaders. Not the money changers. You yourself. For you have a brain. You were made as a miracle. You're made marvelous, wonderful. And no one can ever take that from you. Your DNA is unlike anyone else's. My DNA is unlike anyone else's.
Yes.
Dr. Harlow's DNA
Yes.
is unlike anyone. That means you're special. You are one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
Being one of a kind, that means you have something to contribute. And I implore you, I charge you with being united as opposed to being untied.
And you said, as I continue to read, not so, for true patriotism is wealth within itself. The wealth within itself.
Let's not put a dollar figure on that,
Mm-hmm.
because when we talk about wealth, our mind immediately goes to money.
Okay.
Some of the richest people I know, the wealthiest people I know, have very little money in the bank. They have family.
Right.
They have friends. They have relationships.
Mm-hmm.
They have fellowships.
Yes.
Some of the poorest people in the world
Mm-hmm.
are some of the most people that have some of the largest bank accounts. They're disjointed. They're always wondering, is somebody trying to take this from me? Is somebody trying to steal this from me? I have to protect this.
Yes.
This is mine.
Right.
True wealth is true happiness. True happiness is true joy. Happiness is external. We'll talk about that a little bit in a different chapter. Joy is on the internal. And what's internal to me, no one can ever take. If I were to ask you a question, Dr. Halal, what is your name?
Raymond Harlow.
Can I ever take that from? No, your name is
Doctor.
Joe Jones.
No.
It's not. I tell you, your name is Joe Jones.
Dr. Raymond Harlow.
I cannot take that from you.
Yeah.
That is internal, just like patriotism. It has to live in here. It has to breathe in here. It has to be a lifestyle. I'm trying to get through to you that these are not just words on a paper. It's something I live each and every day. It is a lifestyle, and one that I truly enjoy, because no man, no woman, no potentate, no president can ever again imprison me. For my mind is free, and I want yours to be free. Would you allow me to do that? Would you walk with me in freedom? I know you've been praying for that. I know you've been asking for that. I know you've been seeking that. Be free. For whom God has set free is free indeed.
Amen. As one understands this principle, the vision becomes clear that our country takes care of us, and we also take care of our country.
That's hard to do when you are in a position, or when one is in a position of oppression, of not having liberties given to them, of having things excluded from them, or they themselves feel excluded. How can I love a country like that? It's the guys at the top. It's the president. It's the prime minister. It's the king. It's the queen. They're withholding it. They're eating the fat of the land, and I'm scrounging by the dirt of my teeth, wondering where my next meal will come from. I have been there. I have been unemployed. But I didn't take any benefits from the government. I refused to, for I still was an able body, able to work, and we made it. Oh, it wasn't pretty. Not at all. But we made it. And I'm living proof and evidence today, by you listening to this, by you reading this, that we've overcome those things. Do not let your circumstances define your existence. Do not let your circumstances define your existence.
Yes.
Circumstances are going to happen. Life is going to happen. That is not who you are. That's what's happening to you. That's not who you are. For again, you are a divine creature. You are a miracle. You are one of a kind. You're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master.
Wow, that's very clear. Thank you for explaining that.
Thank you.
So there are some things to explore here.
Yes.
And if you can go into the topic of tribal divisions.
Well, let me group them all together,
Okay.
if I may.
Okay.
And we'll talk about them maybe one at a time.
Yeah.
Tribal divisions, there's religious divisions, there's cultural divisions, and then there's philosophical divisions. Regardless of where you live in the world, it's still a tribe. Well, we've heard it takes a village to raise a kid.
Yes.
Well, a village is nothing more than several tribes put together.
Wow.
And we may call that tribe in the United States a community, or we may call it the suburbs, we may call it an urban block. Or if you go to New York, which is a wonderful place, they have Greektown, they have Chinatown, they have
Yes.
where the Italian Americans are,
Yes.
they have where the Spanish Americans are, and all these little segments and pockets in Chinese Americans. Those are separate tribes in and of themselves. And the divisions exist not in their value system, but it exists in their traditions. If we would but learn who our neighbor is and learn what their traditions are, we could better understand them. For the fear is that we don't know you. You don't know me, and I don't know you. And as long as that happens, as long as there's a gap, a
Right.
chasm, an expanse, a bridge that can't be crossed, I'm afraid of you. I fear you, for you may try to come in and get me to accept your traditions. Well, I'm going to fight against that. I'm going to push back on that.
Right.
But don't I know, if I were to look closer to the true essence of what it is, our core values would be identical. They'd be the same.
Wow.
They would be the same, just our traditions. So traditions are something that can come and can go, but it's not anything that should separate us. One of those traditions, religion.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're Catholic. I'm Presbyterian.
I'm born
You're
again.
Jewish.
Christian.
I'm Buddhist. I'm an atheist. You're Orthodox.
Right.
It doesn't matter. For companies, countries, families were set on the precepts and principles that we could religiously be free whom we want. Religion is man-made.
Okay.
Religion, we are of the same family. We all came from the same DNA source, Adam and Eve. Regardless of what your religious take is, we all know that there were two predominant people on earth,
Right.
Adam and Eve. We'll agree on that.
Yes.
So we agree to agree.
Yes.
So therefore, you're my brother.
Yes.
We have the same line going all the way back to the beginning of creation. But somewhere along the line, we decided that the Catholics were there, and then they came up with the Protestants.
Wow.
They were protesting the way Roman Catholicism was being operated or put forth. And they were called Protestants.
Yes.
Well, we got smart, went to college, educated ourselves, and that word Protestant became Protestant.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's where the word Protestant is really, look at the word and break it up,
Yeah.
it's called Protestant. And they were protesting Catholic,
Wow.
Catholicism. So that's where the Protestants are. The Protestants, you got Episcopal and Baptist and all of these other divisions of religion. Because they couldn't agree on certain traditions of Catholicism.
Wow.
Should we alienate ourselves among one another because of our small indifferences in how we choose to worship? Absolutely not. Part of those divisions, those tribal divisions, are cultural. Well, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate Christmas.
Right.
I don't celebrate birthdays. I don't celebrate Sunday. I don't celebrate Saturday. I don't celebrate working. I don't celebrate being lazy. I don't celebrate being stupid. Whatever the case is that you don't celebrate or that your culture breaks.
Yeah.
I like to eat spicy foods. I like foods that are mild. I only eat soups. I only eat paste or pastries.
Yes.
These are cultural things.
Wow.
Should I separate myself with that. No, we are all united. How you choose to operate within that unificity is your privilege. We give you that freedom. We give you that privilege, and no one can ever take that away. And we shouldn't fight about it. We should not be separated from it. We should actually come together and rejoice in it and celebrate the differences between us. Dr. Halal, would it be fun if both you and I drank only 8 glasses of water a day? That's all.
Wow.
Or we only spoke the same language, or we only wore the identical same clothes. We have on different clothes now, but everything we did was identically the same. Wouldn't that be exciting?
No.
No. So,
For a little bit, if we're twins.
so what I'm asking, ladies and gentlemen, is if that's not exciting for the long term, as Dr. Halal has so graciously empowered me, why do we want everyone else to look like us,
Wow, it's powerful.
to think like us, to be like us, to walk like us, to talk like us, to drive like us, to live like us? That would be boring. The world is not made of that. Even though we are created equal, we're created the same in the image of the Creator. The same does not mean identical. The same means we have the same attributes. We have the same mind. We have the same abilities to think for ourselves. We have the same ability to procreate.
Procreate, that's powerful.
We are called to create, to be creatures of creation. We create things. Dr. Halal has created a company that publishes books and does media. He created that.
Yes.
I've created the institution of patriotism. Never on earth before in the history of the world has patriotism been taught as an institution. This is the first. I am the creator of that.
Yes, sir.
You are the creator of something, and if not, you soon will be after going through these courses of studies.
Wow.
For that is your mission. And that brings us to one of the last divisions, philosophical divisions. How I perceive something doesn't mean you have to perceive it the same way. For we should have a common goal. What am I saying? I want to think that we want to accomplish a mathematical equation. Philosophically, I want to say A plus A equals B and B plus C equals D. Dr. Lau doesn't like A plus A equals B. He wants A plus B to equal C automatically.
Okay.
That's a philosophical difference. We ought to go to the end result of what the mission is.
Okay.
How we get there is our own journey.
Okay.
I will celebrate your journey, for I know your destination for this particular mission is here, the same with mine.
Right.
And then once we get that, we'll get a new destination. For success and life is never a destination, it's always a journey. But within that, we will have many or minute or ultimate destinations within the journey. Those give us the benchmarks.
Wow.
For if we don't have a destination as a benchmark, we'll never know when we get there.
Wow.
Much like, why do we keep score in sports? So we know who wins. So we
Yes.
know who loses.
Yes.
If there was no accountability, we're just out there playing, and then somebody would say, okay, time, or it's
Right.
time to go home, and we stop, and we say, what was the point of that? No, we need to know. Human beings need to know who won, who lost. Am I the winner? Am I the loser? They need to know that.
Wow.
And that's what we're doing with this institution, is establishing the guidelines. The winner is those of you who choose to do this walk with me and become a patriot for your tribe, for your family, for your community, for your country, for the world. The loser will be those of you who won't do any of that. It's that simple.
Wow. That's powerful. Chapter 4 is really powerful. And as we get into the second portion of this, I'd like to read another excerpt. Some of the results of patriotism is lower crime rate, higher citizen productivity, a greater GNP, less domestic violence, and less civil unrest.
What we have here is something that was a revelation to me as I did this study, as I did this research. As a person becomes more patriotic, they learn to love themselves more. As they learn to love themselves more, they love their family more. As they love their family more, they love their tribe more. As they love their tribe more, they love their community more. And as they love the community more, they love their country more. As a result of all of that, I start feeling good about myself. I start wanting to be a productive citizen of my country, of my tribe, of my community, of my family. As I become a productive citizen, I start to bring value to these systems. As I bring value to the systems, I start to contribute to the economic growth of all of these systems. The country actually benefits by me being successful and being a patriot. As I do all of those things, I don't have an idle mind. I don't want to create destruction of things I've built and things I've created. I want to protect them and want them to be prosperous. So I don't tear them down. I become less destructive. If I'm arguing with my husband or my wife, I don't do that because I don't have time, because we're now productive citizens.
Right.
You see, idleness creates a lot of destruction. And it's really, we're attacking in this part, idleness. We're putting your hands to the plow. It says, whom puts his hand to the plow and looks behind is not worthy of the kingdom.
Right.
Put your hand to the plow and look ahead and plow in straight lines.
Wow.
And do not be idle. Do not allow the temptation of idleness to ever impede and intersect with your mind and your heart and your spirit. For when you do that, you will become lifeless. You'll become listless. And when you fight that off, that temptation to do any of that, you become productive. You become a valued member of society. You are then creating value as anybody. It's not about how much value. And what I'm just reminded of this very second.
Okay.
Is in the scriptures, they talk about a widow and a rich person. And it's offering day at the church.
Okay.
And this fellow comes in who has lots of money, and he writes a big check. I mean, a big 6-digit check.
Yes.
Everybody's, yay! And this little lady comes in, not well spoken, not well bred, not well educated, and she drops a penny into the offering plate. And it was asked of some people, who gave the most? And everybody, to a man, to a woman, to a boy, to a girl, the guy who wrote the check.
Right.
What's the matter with you? You can't see?
Right.
And it was stated, no. For he gave out of his abundance. But she gave 100%. She gave all she had. You see, that penny was going to buy her some medicine. That penny was going to buy her some food. That penny was going to pay her rent.
Amen.
That penny was going to put some gas in her car. And instead of doing any of those things, she honored the facility, the institution, by putting it in the offering plate. And she gave 100%, which she had not out of her abundance, but out of her necessity. Give out of your necessity, and you will find people that have abundance, things and institutions that have abundance, charities that have abundance will find their way to your door.
Right.
You will not lose, but you must be faithful. If you follow these precepts, these steps, these principles, people will find you. Abundance will find you. Will find you. You won't have to track it down. You won't have to worry about it. You won't have to think about it at night, wringing your hands. It will track you down and overtake you, and out of abundance will be given to you.
Wow.
That is a byproduct of being patriotic, because we're creating value, and we're creating value. Others are creating value as well. And if they're creating value, they're creating abundance. And that abundance may be meant for you.